Alright, everyone, welcome back to Mass Effect Andromeda. In this video, I'm going to be going through the Codex of things that we have unlocked. This is just the start of the game, so I don't know how much of the Codex there's going to be. This is just going to be a Codex video, so if you are not interested in the Codex, you can go ahead and skip this video. Why don't we go ahead and get started? I've got my drink with me. I have a feeling this might be a lot of reading, so bear with me here. Alright. Finding a home. Crisis on Habitat 7. During your trial by fire on Habitat 7, you recognized the aliens you met as a hostile threat and fought to defend your crewmate Fisher. Explored an alien laboratory, discovered alien shuttlecraft of unknown origin, rescued Greer from his captors, expressed doubts about accepting the role of Pathfinder. Okay, so this feels like kind of just our personal story so far and choices we've made, maybe. Pathfinder is more than a title. Like everyone else in the initiative, writer must decide who to become in the new frontier of Helios. You still mourn the loss of your father, Alec, a man you loved and respected. Hoped you'd have made him proud as a Pathfinder. Okay, this seems like this seems like an update on our journey and the decisions we made, and this is kind of like our personal feelings, I guess. This should update over time, make more sense. Andromeda Initiative. The initiative was built by the efforts of thousands who devoted years of time and countless resources to reach the Andromeda Galaxy. These are the people, places, and organizations that make the Pathfinder's mission possible. Known associates. Sarah Ryder. Born your elder twin on the Citadel space station in 2163, and we learned about that at the beginning of the game. Sarah grew up surrounded by a multitude of alien species, cultures, and histories. In her orientation interviews, she claims she sparked her fascination with science. With informal training aided by Alec Ryder's N7 background, Sarah joined the Systems Alliance military, which was continuing its search for Prothean technology after successful discoveries on Mars. Initially assigned to peacekeeping duties, Sarah was approached to serve a support role for those Prothean researchers. She often describes the thrill of serving with scientists like Mateus Silva on the brink of the next great discovery. When Alec Ryder was dishonorably discharged due to his AI research, internal memos show that this also effectively ended Sarah's career. But Andromeda presented the kind of scientific frontiers she had sought all her life. On arrival in Andromeda, Sarah's cryopod was damaged and her revival process interrupted by Dr. Lexi Tapiro, and advised keeping her in a medically induced coma to allow her to awaken naturally. Now, I wonder if this will update as we play the game on whether or not she's doing better or worse. Sam. Officially designated as a simulated adaptive matrix. Sam, I am an... Okay, so Sam is talking. Interesting. Because it says, I am an artificial intelligence that acts as a coordinated element between Pathfinder Alex Ryder and the rest of his team. Okay. So this is interesting. Sam is saying, I am. So Sam is creating these codex entries. At least the known associates ones, it seems. Maybe all of them. That is a very subtle way of doing a codex entry, but still tying it into like the lore of the story in the game. It's not just a random like download of information. Sam is okay. I actually quite like that. It's subtle, but I like that. My quantum processing power is used to conduct on-the-spot scans of alien worlds, assist in scientific study or tactical situations, and monitor the team's weapons and equipment. I am physically located on Arc Hyperion in secure server banks collectively known as SamNode. While my primary connection is to Alec Ryder via a neural implant, I effectively serve as a mission computer for all team members during Pathfinder operations. I also collate and analyze data from numerous sources and compile it for later study. I am tasked with authorizing and updating the Pathfinder team's Codex based on available information and discoveries as they are made. Okay, so yeah, probably should have just kept reading. Alec Ryder. Born on Earth in 2129, Alec Ryder says his love of new frontiers was fostered by a childhood in the Sierra Nevadas. According to his service record, he joined the Alliance military and was eventually assigned to John Grissom's historic expedition through the Charon Relay. This name Grissom sounds familiar from the original trilogy. It's been a long time, so I don't quite remember it. His experience made him a candidate for what would later be known as N7 training back on Earth, where he met Dr. Ellen Harlow. After their marriage, Alec continued military service, most notably on Shanix in the First Contact War against the Turians. Assigned as a military attaché to the Citadel in the late 2160s, Alex became interested in artificial intelligence as a means of human advancement. His pursuit of this illegal technology led to a dishonorable discharge from the Alliance military. Contacted by the Andromeda Initiative, Alec found a sponsor to help complete his work. I am the product of that research, assisting not only the initiative, but Alec's new role as a Pathfinder. Soon after our arrival in Andromeda in 2819, Alec Ryder died during operations on Habitat 7. Cora Harper. Lieutenant Cora Harper, that doesn't matter, is a human biotic and formerly an officer in the Systems Alliance military. Her screening interviews state that she was raised in poverty on an independent cargo freighter, joining the Alliance at 18 to obtain training for her powerful biotic abilities. However, Cora claims her superiors saw her talents as a liability. Supported by test scores showing her ability spike at abnormally high levels, she was transferred via the Citadel Council's Valkyrie program, a subset of their interspecies military integration plan, placed with the Asari Commandos unit Talian's Daughters. I'm sure if we talk to her, I'll figure out how to actually say that. Though the activities of Asari huntresses are typically sealed for 5,000 years, Cora has freely shared her experience on the record: peacekeeping, counterterrorism, hunting fugitives. And she left Talian's Daughters for the Andromeda Initiative. No reason is recorded. Cora's huntress training and biotic capability made her a candidate for Alec Ryder's second in command, and, if warranted, his successor as Pathfinder. Liam Costa. Liam Costa is a human security and crisis response specialist with civilian tactical training. His screening interview states that he was born on Earth, but his parents specialized in interplanetary policy law, and the family moved frequently. Their primary residence was split between London and the Citadel. Liam entered university for engineering, but left to train for law enforcement. Though initially driven, he was only briefly stationed as a police officer. He described leaving as a necessary move for all concerned. He transitioned to the multi-species effort of heavy urban search and crisis response. If Liam was delusioned by law enforcement service records show that he was not mirrored in crisis response. The human contingent, Heavy Urban Search Terrain 1, reported that Liam performed exceptionally in all conditions. Liam says that this is when he learned of the Andromeda Initiative after meeting former Alliance personnel at a post-hostility relief action. His multidisciplinary skills set him apart, and Liam was hand-picked by Alec Ryder to support the Pathfinder team. Dr. Ellen Ryder. Okay, so we get a picture of our mother. I don't know if character creation would have a role in this, or if this is just permanent default, no matter what you choose. Ellen Ryder, formerly Harlow, was a pioneering designer of biotic implants in the 2150s. She was a leading biomedical and cybernetic researcher at UFRJ in Rio de Janeiro. When human biotics began to emerge as a scientific field, Ellen found possible applications for her work in neural integrated wetware. Her early designs for the biotic implants formed the framework for later L2 and L3 models. Ellen met Alec Ryder when he was posted to Rio for ICT N7 training before the First Contact War. She eventually joined Alec on the Citadel when he was posted there as military attaché and gave birth to fraternal twins on the station in 2163. Unfortunately, Element Zero, the catalyst for biotic mutations, is a hazardous material poorly understood in the early years of human biotics. After repeat accidental exposures, Ellen eventually developed a terminal neurodegenerative disorder, later known as AEND. AIND. In her final years, Ellen Ryder built what she would later become the Pathfinder implants designed to sync with the AI partner Alec Ryder was developing. Ellen died before my creation was fully realized. The Initiative. Brainchild of the visionary billionaire Gian Garson, the Andromeda Initiative was conceived as Garson's personal dream and a desire to prove humanity's capabilities beyond the military power demonstrated in the First Contact War. Garson officially began planning the initiative in 2172, announcing her ambitious goal of launching a pioneering colonization effort to Andromeda in 20 years. So, unfortunately, because it's been so long since I played it, trilogy, I don't remember the time frame. I do know that Andromeda takes place. I believe they leave during Mass Effect 2, but I don't remember my dates, so someone might have to tell me, or eventually I'll play Legendary Edition and I'll get the dates right. Internal reports show the struggles that the early initiative faced. However, Gene Garson's personal stake and enthusiasm sustained the initiative until the early 2180s when, after a sudden influx of investment and a new marketing strategy, interest in the initiative grew afresh. Construction of the arcs was completed rapidly thereafter, and the Andromeda Initiative officially launched in 2185. The initiative's mission statement is to bring Andromeda and the Milky Way, create a sustainable, inclusive civilization, and push scientific development forward by centuries. In official literature, Gian Garson characterizes the initiative as continuing the search for humanity's next horizon. Golden Worlds. Golden Worlds are planets in Andromeda's Helios cluster that are either the strongest possible candidates for settlement or whose resources could bolster the initiative chances at long-term survival. Based on survey data and long-term projections, some are believed to be garden worlds capable of supporting life. Others are mineral treasure troves that could supply fledgling colonies with vital resources. These worlds were designated Habitats 1 through 7. While not generally used in planetary surveying, the term Golden Worlds was coined by the Andromeda's Initiative marketing team and has stuck ever since. The initiative's early settlement strategy revolves around these golden worlds. The arcs cannot sustain a population in stasis indefinitely. The Nexus requires vast quantities of refined ore, helium-3, water ice, and element 0. On-the-ground pathfinding surveys are essential for confirming quickly that the golden worlds are suitable for outposts. Glossary of terms. I don't believe that we need to go through this. You know what? This is the Codex video. I am going to go through everything. If you know the terms, you could just fast forward in the video. Ammunition block, a solid block of metal loaded into the gun. Sand-sized particles are sheared off by the gun's targeting mechanism and then fired as projectiles, allowing a single block to give ammunition for multiple combat encounters. Citadel, a massive ancient space station in the Milky Way that acted as the political and cultural center of the galaxy. Combuoy, a communications buoy that relays data through the corridors of mass-free space. Extranet, a publicly accessible information network across the Milky Way akin to a planetary internet on the galactic scale. Such a network is slowly being developed in Andromeda while communications are established. Earthsuit, an exploration combat suit, usually armored with titanium or ceramic plating and equipped with kinetic barriers to protect against hostile fire and environmental hazards. Heatsink, also known as a thermoclip, a detachable coolant-filled sink used to prevent weapons from overheating. They must be ejected and replaced regularly during firefights. Okay, I want to come back to that in a second. Flash forging? Immediate manufacture of a usually short-lived object from raw materials using an Omni tool or other fabricated device. Omni blades are typically flash forged. Okay. FTL is faster than light. Kinetic barrier, also known as a shield, used to repel fast-moving projectiles, hence kinetic, but does not defend against melee attacks. High-gravity kinetic barriers protect starships from debris. Mass accelerator, a railgun that lowers the mass effect of a projectile and then hurls it at relativistic speeds. Sufficient acceleration allows even tiny projectiles to impact with tremendous force. Mass relay, a network of mass transit facilities across the Milky Way used to immediately transport starships hundreds of light years. No such network exists in Andromeda. That is because the Reapers created those. Metagel, a sterile medicinal salve that bonds to flesh, immediately sealing injuries against bleeding or infection. It can be removed with a small ultrasound pulse. Now, one thing I'm not a fan of in this particular game is you don't carry Metagel with me. You have to find those boxes with a little health symbol. In a way, it makes the game harder, but it is kind of inconvenient. You can't just carry Metagel anymore. Manufacturing, small-scale manufacturing of 3D objects, often on the battlefield for emergency repairs. Omnigel, a compound of alloys, ceramic, and other materials suspended in a semi-molten state used with an Omni tool to build small 3D objects almost instantly. OSD, optical storage disk, can contain data, or the blueprints and programming used in manufacturing. QEC, quantum entanglement communications, instantaneous communication using two particles that are linked at a quantum level. Okay, so this is what I want to talk about, just real quick. If you remember in Mass Effect 1, you could just fire all you wanted and your gun would eventually overheat, and then you couldn't fire for a few seconds. And then in Mass Effect 2, they changed it so you had thermal clips. Now, in my mind, thermal clips were just like clips for, guns we have nowadays. And this goes to show that when I used to play games, I didn't read everything, and I'm sure this was information in Mass Effect 2 that I just did not read, which is another reason why I'm glad I'm doing these Codex entries and actually reading all of them. It seems like every weapon has an ammunition block that is virtually, well, theoretically, is that practically, I don't know the right word, unlimited. It's the heat sink that has to be swapped out. Some people might be like, "Oh, duh," but I don't know. I always thought that it was they changed it for actual ammunition. Um, didn't we just talk about her? Oh, maybe it's just different. Founder of the Andromeda Initiative, Garson was one of humanity's wealthiest and most eccentric entrepreneurs in the Milky Way. Her business interests were wide-ranging as she made her fortune from investments in a myriad of technology-related fields. Always a maverick, it was her vision of traveling to a new galaxy that set Andromeda Initiative in motion. Ignoring skeptics and naysayers, Garson spent vast sums of money building or acquiring the necessary technology and ships to make the long voyage possible. It was a private venture entirely funded by Garson so as to remain free from any government oversight. In 2185, Garson began the long journey to Andromeda aboard Support Hub Nexus. In a speech given on the eve of departure, she remarked on the collective knowledge and history represented by the arcs. We carry all these things like the honed tools of an artist to our great empty canvas. To Andromeda, we go to paint our masterpiece. Garson is slated to serve as the overall leader of the initiative upon arrival. Now, I kind of get having a non-military benefactor for this. The one thing I don't like is, and I realize this is hindsight, we never, as far as I'm aware, we never hear about this person at all in the original trilogy. And you would think if she was this rich, we would have heard something. The launch. Intergalactic travel was the topic of extranet discussion in the Milky Way for centuries. Several Asari or Solarian-led expeditions were postponed over the years, but petered out due to lack of interest, insufficient funds, or engineering hurdles. The Andromeda Initiative's use of AI, like myself, allowed many of the technical problems to be solved, but invited disapproval from the Turian hierarchy and the Systems Alliance. Building a fleet of dreadnought-sized arcs with private funding required delicate negotiations with the Citadel Council, and the advanced technology essential to survival in Andromeda was often acquired by unorthodox means. Official initiative records show that Nexus departed first in 2185, escorted by a small squadron of fighters for protection, followed by 4 arcs that comprised the initial launch wave. Additional vessels were in development, including the Quarian-led ship accommodating multiple species. But construction was slowed due to their diverse requirements, and the second launch wave was delayed. Initiative observers remain optimistic. Pathfinders. Detail. Oh, I have to actually select the role of a Pathfinder. Pathfinders are the tip of the spear, or exploring new worlds, while planetary surveying is typically a long-term multiple-team process. The initiative found an alternative thanks to Alec Ryder's AI research, an individual equipped with the best training and technology available, and an AI partner that can run complex studies in seconds and 100 test simulations a minute. With AI support, Pathfinders can determine within hours whether a planet is suitable for habitation and direct the nexus as to what colonist block stands the best chance there. Pathfinders are trained to improve the viability of potential planets, initiate first contact with unknown species, find suitable outpost sites, and handle any external threats before the first colonist touches soil. Presence of a Pathfinder is a reassurance that a planet can be settled safely and with a high expectation of success. Sorry, history. Archaeological evidence shows that abundant Thessian resources and their natural tendency to cooperate helped ancient Asari develop city building, writing, and agriculture unusually early. The tone of research papers suggests that this is the point of pride for the Asari scholars. After studying a number of Prothean ruins and developing their space program, Asari astronauts found their way to the Citadel, the most advanced station in the Milky Way, deserted since the Prothean extinction. Later, when Solarian explorers reached the station, the Asari proposed a joint government, eventually known as the Citadel Council. The Asari have played a fundamental role in galactic politics ever since. Asari commandos served with distinction in the Rachni Wars despite heavy losses and Krogan occupation of the Asari colony Lucia. Was the tipping point for the Krogan rebellions. In recent years, the Asari have devoted themselves to diplomatic service, including helping to negotiate the 2157 human-Turian ceasefire. Renowned for their long lifespan, biotic ability, and diplomatic nature, the Asari were one of the most influential species in the Milky Way. Asari explorers were the first to discover the immense Citadel Station, and it was the Asari who first proposed the creation of the Citadel Council. Asari are monogendered. Their unique physiology allows them to reproduce with any species via a form of parthenogenesis, passing on genetic traits to their daughters. Almost all Asari are biotic, and the control over their nervous system allows them to hone their powers to heights few other species can match. An Asari can live for 1,000 years, passing through life stages referred to as maiden, matron, and matriarch. Asari matriarchs are ancient and respected, often holding immense cultural and economic power. No such framework exists in the Helios cluster. Now, I know most of this stuff when it comes to like Asari humans, and I'm sure we're going to get more. But just in case someone doesn't and they want to hear about this, I will be going through everything. The Asari come from Thessia, whose vast element zero deposits form the basis of most powerful economy in the Milky Way. Living in small city-states, the natural Asari tendency to cooperate led to the loose conglomerate known as the Asari Republics. Government operates as an e-democracy. Policy discussions take place over the extranet and are open to all. Decisions are made by Jesus, consensus, or with the advance of politically minded matriarchs. The Asari military is relatively small and informal, but no less lethal. Small units of volunteer Asari commandos, also known as huntresses, handle peacekeeping operations in Asari space and were among the first Council Spectres. Their 1,000-year lifespan gives most Asari a long view of events. Investments, social programs, and environmental policies tend toward long-term rather than short-term rewards. This approach drew many Asari to the Andromeda Initiative, undaunted by the centuries-long journey. Biology. Though they appear feminine to many species, Asari are a monogendered species. During reproduction, they provide two sets of genes to their daughters in a form of parthenogenesis, with the second set modified by contact with a partner. During Asari melding, an Asari attunes her nervous system to her partner, giving and receiving electrical impulses through the skin until the two briefly become one unified nervous system. This fine control over their nervous systems contributes to the Asari talent for biotics. Few species can train the level of control that most Asari have by nature. Since joining the Citadel, Asari prefer to mate outside of their own species, claiming that this fosters development and understanding. It also reduces incidence of Arda Yakshi, pure-blooded Asari who suffer a dangerous genetic disorder. Asari are compatible with life in Andromeda that will prove several theories about the fundamental building blocks of life. The Systems Alliance is a supranational government that spearheads human space exploration and settlement in the Milky Way. The Alliance is responsible for the governance and defense of extrasolar colonies and stations, and officially represents humanity on the Citadel Council. The Alliance was founded out of necessity, as no single nation could fund and manage the rapid expansion of humanity from Sol. The discovery of Prothean ruins on Mars had proved that alien contact was inevitable, earning international support for the Alliance that solidified after Alliance forces liberated Shanxi in the First Contact War. Archived extranet articles and Gian Garson staff bulletins reveal tensions between the Alliance and the Andromeda Initiative. Construction of the dreadnought-sized ships and persistent rumors of AI development, which could have damaged humanity's standing on the Citadel, led to the Alliance demanding to oversee the Initiative's labs and shipyards. Negotiations continued until the day of the Initiative's departure. N7s. So we should all have some information on N7s, being as though you play one in the original trilogy. The most respected Systems Alliance officer training is awarded through Interplanetary Combatives Training, ICT, at the Villa Militar in Rio de Janeiro. Candidates at the Villa are initially given 20-hour training missions to lead teams through hostile terrain on little food or sleep. Trainees who do well are awarded the internal designation of N1 and are invited to return. Subsequent courses, N2 through N6, are often held off-planet and include instruction in zero-G combat, military freefall, parachuting, jetpack flight, combat diving, combat instruction, linguistics, and frontline trauma care for human and alien biology. The highest grade of training, N6 provides actual combat experience in conflict zones throughout the galaxy. If the trainee survives these scenarios in admirable and effective fashion, he or she finally receives the coveted N7 designation. N7 is the only ICT designation that may be worn on field or dress uniforms. So if you see someone with N7, run. Andromeda species. Unknown technology. On arrival in the Helios cluster, ground teams have sighted strange structures and technology in multiple locations. This technology appears to be inactive or performing functions that are not fully understood. Whatever its purpose, even cursory scans show this technology is highly advanced and constructed of unknown materials. Alec Ryder and I developed a means to interface with this technology, which he believed was causing the violent weather conditions on Habitat 7. Though he did not survive to develop his theory, the structure we activated appears to be a form of atmospheric processor. After our interface, Habitat 7's ecology showed a degree of improvement. Energy cloud hampering the Hyperion was diminished. Unknown species. Just face. Hey guys, have you seen my baseball? I hate their faces. Like like their structure and their body like is all fine. Like I like the bone. Um I don't really have a problem with like their head shape or like the bone. It's just their literal face. They look very derpy. It's so hard to take them serious as an enemy. Sighted on Habitat 7, this unknown species has proven to be extremely dangerous. Their armor and equipment suggest a technologically advanced species capable of spaceflight, while their battle tactics indicate attritional warfare with a centralized command. In the event of hostile encounters, first contact protocols counsel withdrawal and remote long-term study. But the circumstances of our arrival in the Helios cluster makes this unlikely. Without access to the species' language or an understanding of their motives, aside from attacking on sight, I cannot advise on procedure aside from avoidance if possible and self-defense if necessary. Shoot them in the face. Planets and locations. Habitat 7. The planet known as Habitat 7 was one of the Golden Worlds selected by the Andromeda Initiative for early settlement. Signs pointed to a lush and biologically diverse tropical region that could easily support an outpost. With no communications from the Nexus or sister arcs upon arrival in the Helios cluster, Hyperion approached Habitat 7 to begin survey and settlement operations as soon as possible. But even visual assessments showed that the planet was no longer viable. Habitat 7 is now a storm-racked world with an unbreathable argon-nitrogen atmosphere. Intense magnetic activity is in unknown metallic elements interacts with the storms, causing interesting but highly destructive electrical phenomena. The investigating Pathfinder team encountered a hostile alien life and strange technology on the surface. Reactivating this technology caused a noticeable change in the conditions on Habitat 7. However, the planet is still unsuitable for settlement, and the resulting activation ultimately claimed the life of Alec Ryder, human Pathfinder. Unknown phenomenon. Upon arriving in the Helios cluster, Arc Hyperion encountered a massive and extremely dangerous interstellar phenomenon that severely damaged the Ark. Extending beyond this solar system, the phenomenon did not appear on any of our long-range surveys of Andromeda and now lies directly in Arc Hyperion's course. It is too early to have a clear understanding of this phenomenon, which appears to be an energetic cloud of dense debris with bizarre properties. Initial sensor readings are inconclusive since the phenomenon itself causes severe interference. Asked to speculate, I suggested on preliminary evidence that it may be a dark energy phenomenon despite inconsistencies with our current understanding of dark energy or dark fluid theory. A more disquieting possibility is that this energy cloud exhibits properties so unknown to current physics that our sensors are unable to report accurately. Investigations are continuing. The Andromeda Galaxy. Take a drink real fast. Okay, sorry about that. Located 2.5 million light years from the Milky Way, and the Andromeda Galaxy is the largest galaxy in the local group. Also categorized as M31, Andromeda is a spiral galaxy roughly 220,000 light years in diameter, containing approximately 1 trillion stars, compared to the Milky Way's 300 billion. The Helios cluster is a large star cluster located on the galaxy's outer fringe. Andromeda has roughly 14 satellite galaxies which orbit the galactic disk. Evidence shows a disturbance where one of these companion galaxies, M32, passed through Andromeda's spiral arms several million years ago. Andromeda itself is also accelerating towards the Milky Way at roughly 100 kilometers a second. In roughly 4 billion years, the Andromeda and Milky Way galaxies will collide and merge, forming a new galactic disk. Take a look at technology and exploration tools. Scanner. Planetary surveying, especially for potential settlement, involves meticulous scanning. Yeah, I'm going to be popping that thing out all the time. It's going to be very annoying to watch. I apologize for nothing. However, there have been little pressure to improve planetary scanners. In its search for a better solution, as Pathfinders, the Andromeda Initiative began with hardware salvaged from Geth platforms and software developed by the Solarian STG. With artificial intelligence support, Initiative scientists developed a fast, accurate sampling system codenamed Panoptes? Whatever. Linking it to the quantum computing power of an AI, which can produce multiple analysis and predictive models in seconds, they created an OmniTool-mounted scanner that completes accurate surveys in moments instead of weeks. For typical scanning, the Panoptes systems uses a transmitted accelerator mass spectrometer, or TRAMS. This creates a snapshot of an object's components, atomic weight, and radioactivity, and allows me to produce a more in-depth analysis. For biological materials, the Panoptes system switches to an electrospray ionization system so plants or animals can be scanned without causing radiation damage. Once again, subtle, and it allows me, so like you know that Sam is creating the Codex. Subtle, but I like it. This I don't like. Field repurposing. With limited cargo space aboard the Arks for specialized gear and facing unknown dangers in Andromeda, the initiative's philosophy is adapt to succeed. Colonists are required to have a wide variety of skills, equipment, and weapons are expected to perform multiple functions. However, this adaptability is fueled by non-renewable resources like ammunition, metagel, and power cells. Knowing they would not be readily available in the Andromeda, in an emergency, the initiative's Omni tools can recover and repurpose appropriate resources to serve a similar function. Liquid coolant allows weapon heat sinks to be reused. Organic compounds can be refined into metagel, and so on. When these resources are available, the user is alerted via an interface between the user scanner and their HUD. So, I don't like this. I guess I kind of understand the whole ammunition thing, because why would the enemies here be using the same ammunition that we do at the Milky Way? But this particular aspect for me removes immersion, because why would I be out and about doing stuff and there be a random uh, uh, Andromeda Initiative box just sitting, right next to the enemy? That it makes no sense. I hate this aspect of it. Jump jets. I do like this aspect. Once proprietary hardware for Turian Special Forces, Initiative armor comes with jump jets as standard. These jets allow a user to make extremely high jumps or hover for several seconds. All colonists are trained in their operation to evade predators or environmental hazards, obtain resources, or conduct maintenance in high places safely. Jump jet itself consists of a helium-3 micro thruster with a tungsten hafnium carbide casing, a gyroscopic element, zero core functions to keep both the user orientated in flight and lower their mass when hovering, keeping fuel expenditure down. Hard-coded safety features prevent continuous operation of jump jets to avoid injuring the user or melting their equipment. Just the jump jets, the verticality they added in this game, I do believe is the best combat of all of Mass Effect so far. So I hope they do keep this in Mass Effect 5, or will they call it 4? Who knows? Not technically 4. I don't know. I hope they keep this. I do like the jump jets. Technology, consumable resources. While Andromeda Initiative gear and weaponry is designed to be as versatile as possible, extraordinary circumstances sometimes arise. Pathfinders and scout forces often turn to less orthodox resources to ensure they survive hostile conditions. Adrenaline is a nickname for a prototype OmniGel OSD package. When deployed, it bypasses OmniTool safety to manufacture small-scale manufacturing, new heat sinks, and provide a temporary but powerful boost to armor. A shield capacitor immediately overclocks a user's shields, bringing them to full power and giving them a boost. This boost is unstable, however, and will be lost the next time the shield is breached. A life support pack boosts the environmental management systems of a user's hardsuit, enabling them to cope with environmental hazards for a longer period. Special ammunition packs apply a variety of effects to weapons. Fire incendiary ammo coats projectiles in thermite paste as they are fired. The paste adheres to and burns through armor. Cryo ammo uses Bose-Einstein condensate to freeze an enemy or slow them. Disruptor ammo projectiles carry an electrical charge that damages enemy hardsuit systems. The Cobra RPG package uses a volatile solution of Omnigel and manufacture a short-lived but extremely dangerous projectile. Launched from an Omni-tool, it hits with the same explosive power as a portable rocket launcher. Whew, talking about 50 minutes now. Omni tools are handheld devices that combine a computer microframe, sensor analysis pack, and manufacturing fabricator. Versatile and reliable, an Omni tool can be used to analyze and adjust the functionality for most standard equipment, including weapons and armor from a distance. The holographic haptic interface also functions as a communications device. With sufficient omnigel or other raw materials, usually converted from salvaged light alloys, plastics, or ceramics, an OmniTool's fabrication module can flash forge small three-dimensional objects or emergency suit patches. We saw that in the first episode when we fell and fixed our helmet. This allows quick repairs or modifications in the field. The Andromeda Initiative's Omni tools are designed for reliability and efficient recycling of materials. Pathfinder Omni tools take design inspiration from modules used by Solarian intelligence services, prioritizing the computer microframe to allow lag-free scanning and AI support. Settling Helios. Charting Andromeda. Charting the Andromeda galaxy for habitable planets presents a unique challenge. Observation is limited by light, and given Andromeda's distance, any observations from the Milky Way are 2.5 million years out of date, enough time for our planet to have altered irrevocably. Oh my god, this irrevocably. I'm never going to be able to say that word. It's not in the cards for me. Irrevocably. Yep. Initial attempts to identify settlement sites were made by obtaining Asari astronomical surveys and running them through predictive models, but Gian Garson was unwilling to risk thousands of colonists without solid information. Eventually, the initiative obtained promising data from Quarian explorers who claimed to have found Geth Array on the fringes of the Perseus Veil. This array was supposedly built from 3 mass relays, using sensors in the combined relay corridor as a form of FTL telescope to observe dark space beyond the galactic rim. Why the Geth expended so much effort to study dark space is not known. Well, we do know because the Geth knew about, the heretics knew about the Reapers. The Reapers were in dark space, so they were probably trying to check them out. Amongst these observations were near contemporary surveys of Andromeda. When our predictive models confirmed them within the acceptable margin, the initiative was able to begin identifying golden worlds. Cryogenic stasis. For many species, early long-range exploration relied on cryogenic stasis. Without a modern FTL capability or long-distance transit methods like mass relays, the distances involved in space travel meant that most crews would die of old age before reaching their destination. Cryogenic stasis gradually lowers the body's temperature enough to slow its vital functions, but not low enough for damaging ice crystals to form. Before the pod generates a Mass Effect stasis field that suspends both the individual and the interior environment in the pod. Contrary to depictions in popular media, the individual is not conscious of time passing. From most travelers' perspective, they lie down in a pod only to be awoken moments later. Stasis failure. While regrettably common for early expeditions, has been vastly improved over the years. Even in the event of catastrophic system failure, multiple monitoring VIs and fail-safes are in place to initiate an emergency wake-up. Tech and Biotic. Technology Element Zero, or we call it EZO. Also known as EZO, the rare material known as Element Zero generates a field when subjected to an electrical current, which raises or lowers the mass of all objects within it. This mass effect forms the basis of modern technology, from weapons and manufacturing to enabling faster than light travel. Element Zero is generated when solid matter such as a planet is affected by the energy of a star-going supernova. The material is common in the asteroid debris that orbits neutron stars and pulsars, though mining such regions is extremely hazardous and requires significant investment. Various isotopes of element zero have been identified, though the rarest have only been observed in laboratory conditions. Surveys of the Helios cluster suggested the region is rich in element zero, which was a deciding factor in the Andromeda initiative decision to settle there. Without EZO, the initiative's technology would quickly become obsolete. FTL drive. A starship's faster than light using an element zero drive core in special relativity. An object approaching light speed effectively gains in mass until it would take infinite energy to propel it. But a negative electrical current running through an EZO drive core lowers the starship's mass, allowing it to travel at FTL speeds. Motive force is provided by the ship's thrusters, chemical rockets, commercial fusion torch, or military anti-proton drive. In addition to the FTL drive core, without thrusters, the ship has no ability to move. Standard drive cores build up a static charge during operation and must be discharged periodically. Otherwise, the core discharges into the ship itself. Catastrophic results. The initiative's drive cores, intended for long-term voyages, are designed to recycle or reduce static buildup. Mass Effect fields. Element Zero can increase or decrease the mass of a volume of space-time when subjected to an electrical current. With a positive current, mass is increased. Negative current, mass is decreased. The stronger the current, the greater the magnitude of the dark energy mass effect. In space, low mass effect fields allow FTL travel and inexpensive surface to orbit transit. High mass effect fields create an artificial gravity and push space debris away from vessels. In manufacturing, low mass effect fields permit the creation of evenly blended alloys, while high mass effect compaction creates dense, sturdy construction materials. Andromeda Initiative's technology relies heavily on mass effect fields, from reduced mass supply drops for outposts to the impressive long-range drive cores on the arcs. Biotics. Biotics are rare individuals with the ability to create and manipulate mass effect fields. Given the correct implants and careful training, a biotic can raise defensive barriers, yank opponents off their feet, or shred an enemy apart at the molecular level. A biotic gains these abilities after exposure to dust form element zero in utero or via secondary exposures at a young age, though this often results in fatal cancer. Roughly 10% of those exposed develop element zero nodules along their nervous system. Once activated by the body's electrical impulses, these nodules allow the biotic to create mass effect fields, though most need a neural implant to wield them effectively. Some species, like the Asari, are naturally biotic, but human biotics are still relatively rare, and many view them with suspicion. The Andromeda initiative has proven attractive to biotic applicants. We are almost done, at least with this video. Oh, okay. The Arch-Hyperion. Ooh. Arch-Hyperion serves as the main vessel for carrying human settlers bound for Andromeda. Named after a Greek mythological figure associated with knowledge of celestial bodies, and the Hyperion represents a breakthrough in intergalactic travel. Substantial money and resources were devoted to its construction, all privately funded by Gian Garson and the Andromeda Initiative. Built to withstand the rigors of a nearly 2.5 million light-year voyage, the Hyperion is outfitted with Odyssey Drive core technology, which allows the ship to make a 600-year voyage safely at FTL speeds. It features enough stasis pods to accommodate approximately 20,000 settlers and crew. Arch-Hyperion left the Milky Way in 2185 as part of the initial wave of departures under the command of Captain Nozomi Dunn. I believe that is it for the Codex. All right. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you chose to stay, for those that didn't, I completely understand. We will have future Codex videos. I will periodically check the Codex to get an approximation of how many we have to do. I don't want to wait too long to read the Codex because I do want to learn about this stuff. But I don't necessarily want to make a 10-minute video going through 2 Codex entries. But yeah, thank you guys for supporting. Consider subscribing to the channel. A like and a comment is always appreciated. That helps push the video out. The next video will be, as far as I'm aware, exploring the Nexus? Is that what it's called? I think so. Alright guys, thank you very much. I am the Grinch, and I will see you guys later.